How's it going, everyone? Your boy Corey here, aka Crasher, back with a new video, and ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a rather important discussion involving Pokemon Go, and it just honestly seems like at this point, ladies and gentlemen, and I've said this time and time again, it seems like that with Niantic, it is one step forward and many steps back, and it seems like, ladies and gentlemen, that this right here epitomizes the many steps back part, because what I want to talk about here is what Niantic had recently announced when it comes to the removal of certain features and changes that were implemented due to reasons involving the coronavirus. Now, what I want to do is I want to first off go through an article made by PokeJungle, as this right here is something that, in my honest opinion, needs to be sprungboard. It needs to be talked about. If you have a YouTube channel and you're a fan of Pokemon Go, or, you know, you're a casual player of Pokemon Go, I would highly recommend that you make a video on this, because this right here is definitely something that needs to get out there. And this is something that Niantic definitely needs to reconsider and take our feedback into severe consideration in regards to this. So let's begin with this. Niantic, please listen to the Pokemon Go community. Today, many fans are up in arms over an announcement that the game will be reverting certain bonuses that were put in place because of the global health crisis. Some, particularly the interaction range being decreased for Pokestops and gyms, and the decreased Incense effectiveness will really hurt rural players that enjoyed more Pokemon spawns and easier access to locations. It's also questionable to wind down these bonuses when vaccination rates in the US are very poor in some areas, possibly putting players at risk. Now, to give you guys some context on what it is I'm talking about here, I want to bring this to light real quick for you guys that might not be in the know. Bonuses introduced last year that we plan to remove or change. Over the next few months, we're planning to remove or change some of the bonuses introduced last year. We will not make these changes until after Pokemon Go Fest in July, and we will remove them first as a test in the US and New Zealand starting at the end of July. We will remove or change them on a rolling basis in other countries and regions over time, and at the same time introduce new exploration bonuses. Over the past year, Incense effectiveness was increased to attract Pokemon to you more frequently, even if you weren't able to leave home. After the change, this effectiveness will be set at the standard level when you're stationary, and increased effectiveness will kick in when you are moving. Previously, your buddy Pokemon brought you more gifts each day, up to 5 gifts at once and up to 3 times a day. This was because we knew trainers were running low on supplies like Pokeballs and berries to help them catch Pokemon. As we move to encouraging trainers to play outside more, they can continue to receive supplies from spinning Pokestops. After the change, the frequency of these gifts from buddy Pokemon will be reduced. Previously, Pokestop and gym interaction distances were increased to enable people to engage from further away. After this change, the distance will revert back to the standard distance when it makes sense in different places, though may be increased during future events and as part of certain features. Billions of dollars can't buy love. Ain't that the truth? Last year, Niantic reportedly earned almost $2 billion in revenue, largely thanks to Pokemon Go. That's essentially twice what it made in 2019, and it happened during a global pandemic, something that actively prevented players from enjoying the game as they previously had. But all that money hasn't translated into much generosity back to the Pokemon community that enjoys the game. Also the truth. As noted by Cerebi webmaster Joe Merrick, the paid research during community days has continually rewarded players with less value while remaining at the same price during 2021. Free remote raid passes have also been uncommon, even though players could pick up a free regular raid pass each day for local raids prior to the pandemic. Now it has become a revenue-driving item that Niantic doesn't seem eager to part with unless players open up their wallets. That's also the truth. This kind of stinginess is a pattern for Niantic, a company that, from fans' perspectives, prefer to make gameplay decisions based on their bottom line rather than any real eagerness to serve the fans that keep their game in the top played mobile titles. Niantic isn't eager to talk candidly with its players. Communication is key to any relationship, and that still holds true between a game developer and the players who spend their time and money in the game. Unfortunately, Niantic has largely refused to answer to community feedback when the most activity fans see is from their Twitter help account, which is solely for technical issues. It doesn't feel like there's a fan leading the development roadmap. It feels more like a faceless company is trying a little of this and a little of that to see what works for Pokemon fans. This is an issue we've been outspoken about since 2019. To be clear, I don't want to throw their employees under the bus because their social media team is probably under strict lock and key about what they can and can't say or respond to. I can actually believe that. What I think a lot of other players would like to see is honest responses to the feedback we give. It's impossible to individually reply to players, but there are often overarching requests or complaints about the game. A company is under no obligation to bend to players' whims, but backing up their choices with direct, logical communication about why they made their decision can go a long way to make players feel like at least they were listened to and their opinions were considered. More accountability and communication, please. Please, Niantic, at least listen and respond to the community. If something is broken, let us know why it's taking so long to fix. If you don't answer, your silence sounds a lot like you're saying you don't care. If we don't hear anything back, all we can do is look at the revenue you're taking in and scratch our heads about why there isn't more being spent on testing before patches come out or faster fixes for things that have been broken for a year or longer. I don't think it's hard to imagine that a situation like that doesn't feel good from a fan's perspective. There are many more Pokemon we'd love to see on Pokemon Go someday, but it's going to be hard to justify putting time and money into the game if this continual decline isn't seriously addressed. I've shared my thoughts above, but I'd love to hear yours as well. Leave your thoughts down below in the comments or sound off about the issue in our Discord server. Please remember that Niantic employees on social media are not responsible for company decisions and may even have similar sentiments as players. It is never acceptable to harass people online, even if you're frustrated. Now, before we get into all that, I want to back up that disclaimer by saying, please, guys, do remember at the end of the day that they are employees at the end of the day, and the choice is out of their hands and into the higher-ups, into the company heads that make the final call. And it honestly would not surprise me if the employees at Niantic actually think similarly to us Pokemon Go fans and players. So now, on to my thoughts about this, and oh boy, things are about to get steamy here, but I'm going to try to keep things as respectful and concise here, but I'm going to open things up by saying, Niantic, what the fuck are you thinking? Like, what is gained, first off, by removing the increased interaction distance of Pokestops and gyms? Answer me that. Like, I hope Niantic understands that we're still in the middle of a global pandemic, and while there are places that have little to no cases, there are places that are still being ravaged because of COVID-19. And having these changes / removals take place in a matter of a few weeks doesn't seem like a very, very good idea, if I'm gonna be honest here. Like, just because these changes have been implemented, that doesn't mean that players want to be less active. It means that because of COVID-19, they are forced to be seriously protected or sheltered because of COVID-19. And even right now, COVID-19 is still a very big problem in the world. And more specifically, when it comes to the distance increase, this right here is beneficial in so many ways. As an example, you could be out and about walking, and if you were to come across a gym and or Pokestop that is on, say, private property, well, if the distance range was to be decreased back to the standard way prior to COVID-19, that player probably wouldn't be able to gain access to that gym and or stop. But because of the distance increase, well, now the player is at a safer distance where they don't have to feel like that they have to trespass in order to gain access to the stop and or gym. And let's also not forget about why the increased distance was implemented in the first place. A big reason is to encourage social distancing because, like I said time and time again, just from this video alone, COVID-19 is still very, very much a thing, and so is social distancing and wearing masks. If we were to remove the interaction increase distance, then this right here is going to cause people to potentially have to get closer together in order to interact with that one spot, and that could be risky business right there. So for Niantic to say that they are making these changes and removals to encourage people to get outside more, that right there just doesn't line up. The actions and the reasoning, the two don't mix. They don't correlate with one another. So this right here severely not only makes me question Niantic here when it comes to this announcement, but it really, really makes me think even more so that they are as tone deaf as ever. Like, how are these removals and changes going to encourage people to play outside more in a good way? Like, this right here, like I said, seems really tone deaf and it doesn't make sense. And this right here is going to put people at risk, especially given how these changes are first off going to be rolled out in the US. And the thing is, when it comes to the US, they're not exactly in the best shape when it comes to their dealings with COVID-19. I mean, are you kidding me, Niantic? Like, this right here just adds on to the tone deafness, if I'm going to be honest here. And again, I'm not saying this as a means to be degrading or to be rude or anything like that, but this right here, you know what I'm saying, just does not make any logical sense. So, unless I'm missing something severely here, and if I am, please comment down below and clarify that for me, I really don't see the value in making these changes and removals to things that have given players better accessibility in playing Pokemon Go during these hard times. But that's enough for my thoughts. Let's actually navigate ourselves to Twitter, and this tweet right here that Pokemon Go made involving this massive announcement, we can see that there are some mixed responses based on the replies, retweets, and likes. Fleece King tweets out, "I don't know if you're aware of this, but we're still in the middle of a worldwide pandemic and it's far from being over. How about instead of removing the increased gym and Pokestop distance and nerfing Incense, you actually fix the bugs and the most recent update, for fuck's sakes?" And I actually agree. The update is still a massive problem. Pokemon Master Holly tweets, "Niantic, please. Monthly developer notes and tweets about bug fixes. Keep increased distance to spin stops and gyms. It helps all players. Keep Incense the same while stationary and increase effectiveness while moving rather than make it worse while stationary. Communication, please." All of this, I agree with. Tessie tweets out, "The removal of the increased gym/Pokestop distance is horrendous. I am disabled and loved that I could chill on a bench in my town and be able to hit a gym and 2 stops when walking became too difficult for me. This is going to really put me off playing." Lumen tweets out, "If this nonsense doesn't get called off, we will start a boycott at Pokemon Go app campaign to hold them accountable. One 24-hour period where a significant number of players refuse to log in would send a huge message. Now imagine if we turned off the money funnel for a week." I wonder if that would work. Inviso tweets out, "Cool. Can't wait to uninstall the game after GoFest then. Your game is barely playable as it is. Taking away Incense boost and stop/gym radius will kill the game for many players. It doesn't even hurt you to keep them boosted. Talk about complete disconnect from the player base." Amen to that. Clash and Cliff tweets, "Niantic, our game currently causes seizures and PvP has been broken for a year. Also, Niantic, let's remove the extended radius. Do you really want everyone to abandon your product? The community is that close, we are fed up. And yeah, I agree with that. Ali tweets out, the unintentional pandemic changes helped everyone, especially disabled people who do play your game. I'm seriously disappointed, but not surprised. Wish you cared about us. And I wish that too, but that right there is a pipe dream if you think Niantic would actually care about their fans. Void tweets out, everyone complaining about Pokemon Go returning back to its formal glory is fine because everyone got lazy/comfortable during COVID with all these bonuses and now are trying to make up an excuse so they don't have to walk the extra mile. If Niantic could complain, y'all wouldn't be here. I'm a hard disagree on that, partner. That's a bad take. Reversal here chimes in. You're actually nerfing Incense and the Pokestops spin radius? No bueno. Yeah, no thank you, Niantic. Take this as a massive fucking hint and a message. So you guys get the idea. For the most part, the community is pissed. They are not having it, and this right here speaks massive volumes that are as clear as day and plain and simple. If you can't understand something as straightforward as this, then I seriously question your ability to think to begin with. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I think the point is more than proven at this point. What do you guys think about what we discussed here in this video? What are your guys' thoughts and opinions? You know I always love to hear you guys out. Please let me know in the comments down below whether you agree, disagree. Just remember to keep it respectful and keep it 100 with one another, whether you agree or disagree. This is meant to be a discussion as well as a call out to Niantic in specific detail. So thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you very much for your time in viewing this video. Please share this out, share the message, and all that good stuff. Thank you guys again. Have yourself a damn good one, and I'll see you guys in the next video.